Hello and welcome to another episode of Weymouth to the World. So the last episode ended in Dominica. It was only a one-night stop in that secluded little anchorage, which was absolutely beautiful. The next day we come out the anchorage, headed north to a set of islands that belong to Guadeloupe, and they're called the Saints. So we went on the outside, on the Atlantic side, so up the east coast of them, through a channel full of fishing pots to come to this beautiful spot. Let me show you. So that's one island, a gap out to the Caribbean. There's another island, a bigger island, and then there's this that we're on. This is Terre de Haute, I think you pronounce it, all the way round. That's where we came in, and in the distance there is Guadeloupe. We'll probably head to Guadeloupe soon. So we've picked up a mooring buoy. That's the first time we've done that, so that was interesting coming in. We didn't film anything, it was kind of like a bit tense, just making sure. I think it took us about 4 or 5 times. This little boat over there, French couple sat in the back watching us and all of our palaver. So today we're gonna go ashore. We checked in yesterday, so we got the French flag flying again, as these islands belong to Guadeloupe, which is also French, like Martinique. Dinghy dock, and we're gonna go up there to Fort Napoleon. Fort was really interesting, had a lot of cool stuff inside, not just the history of the fort itself, but as you can see, a lot of the animals of the island, sea animals, all that kind of stuff. The next day, Maddie and I decided to go to the other end of the island. There was also a massive hill which we walked up 2 days later, but we managed to find a little beach. The first beach we went to was small and super crowded. Maddie spotted this little path that we're walking down at the back of the beach. We followed it and it opened up into this private little beach that you'll see in a second. There was no one there apart from this old guy walking out of the water. He'd been snorkeling, but apart from that, we had this. around the island there are wild goats just randomly walking around. Some are pets, I think. Pretty cool. Good morning. I'm going to be quiet because Maddie's still asleep. It's still fairly early. Not even 7 yet. Look at this. So the plan today, we're going to go back up to Fort Napoleon and fly the drone, hopefully. Over there is a little hidden airstrip. It's only small. We see just sort of Cessna sized planes come down across. So on the DJI app, when you hook in your controller, it tells you about, you know, no fly zones and what's around, and it shows you a strip basically running east west, which is the approach and takeoff. I wanted to go up onto that hill, which is the tallest of the hills on this island, and fly, but it's a bit too close to that sort of no-go area, if you like. So we go on Fort Napoleon, hopefully get some good shots of the marina and the Warrior.
Mark, where are we going?
Up a really big hill.
Where have we been?
Down a really big hill.
We can't see from here. Can't see the top. We're going up. We're currently up quite high. There's Fort Napoleon where we were the other day. How you feeling?
I'm good.
Sweaty?
Yeah. If we make it. There's been a lot of rock slips, a lot of landfall. This road's actually closed. We shouldn't even be on here right now. There was chain, but we keep walking. I think in the wet season it pushes lots of rocks down, so we're kind of risking it maybe.
We've committed now. But
it'd be worth it. We'll see. We'll make sure that we can get past the road first.
How you feeling?
Sweaty. we are going to leave shortly. I'm just going to get the boat ready, engine checks, sail covers off, head out through there behind that island, and then up to there's Guadeloupe, and then up the west coast. It's only a couple of hours sail. Probably won't even put the main sail up, probably just run on the head sail. That over there is Pigeon Island. There's an anchorage. You might not be able to see the boats in there. Maddie and I have just been over, and it is busy and it is rolling. So when we were coming up from the south, we passed this little anchorage. They seem a bit more steady in here, but very close to the shore. I think it's a bit of a shelf, so we're gonna go in and investigate and hopefully throw the anchor down here. It's still really rolly. We should have stayed in the Saints. Here is home for the night. What did I say the name of this was? I'll find out the name and I'll put it down here somewhere. There's a lot of Sargasso weed. That stuff's been an absolute nightmare coming across the Atlantic, but it's a beautiful quiet little anchorage. So round this headland was where we just came from. The anchorage is there. I mean, this is a bit rolly, but it's nothing like they looked around the corner. So we'll stay here for a night or two. As I was coming into anchor, I tested the windlass and it's not working. The windlass itself works because I've got controls on the helm and they work. So it's again the connections inside the anchor locker, so I'm gonna have to squeeze my fat ass in there again and see what's going on. I'm not sure if you can see in here, but everything's just broke. So what I've got is selection of new connectors, some shrink wrap to heat wrap, heat shrink. So when you've made the connections, you put this tubing over there, heat it up, and it shrinks around, hopefully make it a little more waterproof. So now I've got to get into this tiny hole. Probably the worst anchorage we've been in yet. It doesn't look bad. Where there was no wind, I was obviously laying sideways on in this little bay, so that little swell that's coming in, it really was rocking the boat a lot last night. So yeah, not a good sleep. So I'm gonna weigh anchor, go back out up round to the north to day 8. Hopefully that's a little bit better, but we'll see. This is one busy little anchorage, but it's lovely. So this is day A, that's how you pronounce it. It looks totally different on the chart, the way it's spelt, but it's pronounced day A. I lost count of how many times I up anchored to reposition. Firstly, I started behind this metal boat on the far side, then I went to where the metal boat was, then I went to here, but I was too close to that cat. So now I've come to here and I'm kind of close to this French boat. But we've swung on most points now because it's very swirly. It does say in the book and on Navily that these boats turn at all angles at all times, and they do. Like, you know, I think at the moment we're all pointing out, and then at some point some will be out, some will be in, some will be to that cliff. It's weird. Hard to anchor, very hard to set anchor, not knowing if you're over someone's anchor or which way to lay your anchor. But we've been sat here. I've had another boat job, so the switch went again up on the windlass. So I've done a little adjustment in there. Also, I've managed to pull all of the electrics back out of the way by drilling a hole, tapping in a hook, putting a cable tie on. Bit of a jury rig, but it's done. So hopefully that works, because that button went out during one of the anchor ways, which was fantastic. Luckily, I've got controls on the helm, so I managed to weigh anchor using that. But yeah, it was such a palaver. I felt very sorry for Maddie, and now she's cooking me breakfast. Well, lunch. I've not even had breakfast. We're now lunchtime, and then we're going to go and explore. Just been in to check on the anchor. Before I did that, that catamaran there was coming in to try and pick up a mooring buoy, and it was struggling. She struggled. She was on the front, he was on the helm, and we kind of struggled, didn't we, in the Saints, to grab a little mooring buoy. So I just jumped in my dinghy, went over, put the line free for him, went for my little snorkel, checked on the anchor, and when I come back, they were coming around in their dinghy and handed us. So Dan and Patty, thank you very much. You didn't have to do that, it's very kind of you. We shall enjoy this cab sav later. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We really hope you enjoyed it. Join us next time where we explore Dehe in Guadeloupe. We walk up this river in the rainforest. We saw some really cool things that you only really see on things like nature programs. It was really cool. We go to this beautiful beach, have a bit of a chill. Please give us a like if you did enjoy this. Leave any comments, any questions you may have, leave them in the comments also. If you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Thanks a lot.